guidance. You're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His guidance. So you put your hands and cup your hands to Allah. There are 5 different ways the Prophet used to raise his hands in dua. The first is that he would bis-sabbaba, pointing with his tashahud finger. And this was done when he was given admonitions and khutbahs and sermons. When he was standing on his pulpit, he would make his dua with the sabbaba. And this is called raf'ul yad in dua, raising your hand in dua. The second way of making dua that the Prophet would raise his hand was by pointing his palms to the sky. And this is dua al-istisqa. The Prophet ﷺ would ask for rain and bring the rain down with his hands like this. This is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This was a form of making dua for istisqa. The third was putting his hands again and asking Allah to separate the clouds. And this was dua bi raf'il yadayn. He would put his palms to the heaven. Oh Allah, stop the rain. Allahumma hawlana wa alayna. Oh Allah, turn it around us and not put it on us when it was torrential rain upon Al-Madinah. The fourth way of making dua with the hands of the Prophet ﷺ was what was called al-qunut. And Al-Imam Ahmad, the qunut dua is that your hands are cupped and they are at the level that does not go past your shoulder. And your hands are in front of you and your palms, your fingers are spaced together. They are not open and they're not closed tightly, but they're in a relative position. And it is the position of a beggar who is before a master asking, Oh Allah, give me. And this form of dua is dua us-su'al. It's the way of asking Allah. In the hadith of Imam Abu Dawood, which Shaykhna Al-Albani has deemed sahih, Prophet ﷺ said, no one puts their hands up to Allah, meaning in this way, their hands, their palms to Allah, and asks Allah, and except that Allah is shy of them not to give them something. You will be given something in your hand. That it comes down to you. Allah will give you something as a reward of this. It was seen as a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in certain dua to wipe upon himself after it. Not all dua, but in some dua. Some of them are when he would recite the qul before sleeping. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, reciting Ayat al-Kursi, and in one riwayah that's in Sahih Muslim, reciting the 7 Fatiha, 7 times al-Fatiha, فَيَنْفُث, breathe in his hand, and he would pass his hands over all parts of his body that were not covered. So he wouldn't touch his clothing, but any part of skin or hair, he would touch himself with it, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's a sunnah of our Nabi Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, before you sleep. It is a sunnah to do it in ruqya, upon your children. كان يمسح على الحسن والحسين ينفث في يده. He would read his dua of protection. أعيذكم بالله, I ask Allah to protect you from every eye and from every shaitan and from every evil that seeks you. And he would breathe on it, he would recite the quls, and then he would touch them, the parts of their bodies that were exposed. This was a sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the hadith of Imam al-Bukhari, when the Sahaba were passing by and they met a man who was ill in a village, and the people in the village, they said, Hal minkum raqin? Any of you know how to make ruqya? The Prophet hadn't taught them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how or what to say. They said, yes, we have the Quran. These are people who don't believe. The people they're asking them are not believers. They said, yes, we have the ruqya. We know how to make ruqya. We know how to make a spiritual cure. They said, okay, do it for us. So the Sahaba read 7 times Surah Al-Fatiha, وَنَفَثُوا وَلَمَسُوا, and they put their lamps upon the man, touched the man, blew upon the man. فَبَرِئ, he became better. So they gave him a gift, sheep. And the Sahaba said, no, we can't consume it, we can't take it until we ask the Prophet ﷺ if it's halal. Because we did something, we got paid, we don't know if what we did was correct. We just used this Quran. And when they came, they said, Ya Rasulullah, this happened, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he said, you have to give me some of the sheep, because I'm your teacher. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Right? This is the form of making this dua. To put your hands together at the level of your shoulders in a way that is a beggar before the master. The 5th and final way that is mentioned of the Prophet ﷺ raising his hands in his dua was at the time of mihna and difficulty. And that's when he would put his hands up to the sky until they would see the whiteness of his armpit. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. وَهَذَا عِنْدَ النَّازِلَةِ. This was in the time of Badr. It was very, in a time where, Ya Rabb, وَيُنَاشِدُ رَبَّهُ. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hands fully extended to Allah Azza wa Jal. That is not common. It's not something you do every day. That is at a time of need, where you have no one but Allah. The Prophet ﷺ mentions it in the hadith of Sahih Muslim, where he says that there was a man who was traveling in the desert, and his mount, his horse, his camel ran away with his food, his water, his sword. He's going to die in the desert. فَرَفَعَ يَدَهُ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. The Prophet says he put his hand to the heavens. Al-Imam al-Nawawi says, أي رفعها كأنه يريد السماء. He's putting it as if he's trying to touch the sky. You're in need, Ya Rabb. وقال يا رب يا رب. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Help me, help me. Right? So this is established in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad